said, I'm excited to be back. Basically what I'm going to do is I already have a good hearty list list of topics, but it'll be a different topic for every episode. First few episodes are going to be super green. I'm rusty. I haven't been out here in a hot minute, and like I haven't even felt good in my own skin in so long, you know, and then to be out publicly, so I'm a little awkward at first, but I'll get my vibe back, I'll get my flow. But I do want some sort of like set flow for the show, something that we know to expect content-wise and flow-wise. What I would love to do in future videos, once I get my bearings with lighting and sound and the flow and the style and the structure and all that, I want to physically go and do an experience in real time this stuff. So like, let's say we're talking about tarot. I would like to film getting a tarot reading, or maybe talk to said tarot reader. And then in terms of like, let's say the next topic was Reiki, then I would like to go and get a Reiki session on film and then maybe interview that person. The show is going to evolve and become more interactive and become hopefully more fun. I want to work with everybody. Obviously, it's not plausible, but I want to. I'm so excited. All right, so let's investigate the history behind tarot. In terms of a history with tarot, I'm not going to go too tremendously deep through it because it sort of doesn't really help us know what today's tarot is, but we'll go through the Cliff Notes version to kind of cover everything. The tarot deck started out as a game. It started out like a card game, like the bicycle decks in the States would be. And over time, as we do in the divination world, we start noticing certain tools seem to produce certain things for us or help us navigate other worlds. And that's how dowsing rods became a thing. That's how tarot became a thing, was they started noticing that they were being able to pull certain things numerically and symbolically or whatever. So from like the 1400s to the 1700s, it was mostly a playing game. People would divinate a little just out of curiosity, but like it was sort of like very taboo because, well, for a long time it was of the devil, it was of the occult, it was sinning if you use divination in any format, but especially when you're like full on telling the future and predicting things. So around the 1700s, people started getting a little more creative with the decks. I mean, it was kind of boring just looking at numbers playing. I guess I don't know why they did it, but whatever. And so like if you had like a fancy deck, you were wealthy. And I guess the game was called Tarocchi, I think. Tarocchi or Tarocchi. Oh, well, that one makes sense then. And I guess we condensed it to tarot. But at the Tarocchi level, it was a playing game still. It was not a fortune telling communicative device tool. Apparently the game was similar to bridge, so I have no idea how to play bridge, but if you do, OG tarot was basically like that back in the day. Okay, so from the 1400s through the 1700s, you know, it's that cool bridge game and they're just getting fancy and all snooty about it, right? Sometime around the 18th century, some French dude rolled up and was like, hold up, I can play with these in a different kind of way. First tarot card maker in a divination style format was a French dude in the 18th century named Jean-Baptiste Alliot. Probably butchered the F out of all that, but that's as French as I'm gonna get. So he published the first, not only tarot deck, but the first instruction manual on how to use said deck. So if you don't know anything about tarot, there's like a general language, right? So a general translation, I would say, of the deck. Like the Rider-Waite deck, which we'll get into in a little bit, is like our eras, generations, this century's like staple deck. It's very basic deck for many reasons, but also because it's like the one you learn on and all that stuff. I don't have a Rider-Waite. I really should. I kind of suck that I don't. The closest I think I have would be this guy. They're real basic like this, like super basic. Like it's just a dude with his pentacles. I don't think this is gonna focus well. So they're not fancy, they're anything. They just are. But that's because they're the basic. They're for training. The Rider-Waite format is translated pretty fluidly throughout all readings. However, most tarot deck creators also create their own interpretations or editions or whatever renditions of that meaning in their own way. So when you get a new deck, a lot of times they have these, like his did, instruction manuals, especially like if you're just getting like a general deck as opposed to like a customized deck or a special deck. A lot of times they have those instructions because they have additional things. Also, the imagery, each creator, each deck distributor creates an image for each card in the deck, and typically there's hidden nuggets and meanings and all that stuff too. So learning a deck and having a how-to guide, apparently since the beginning of time, is how we've done it. All right, so Sir Jean-Claude Van Damme over here, Jean-Baptiste Atelier, or however you say Homefry's name, he started the first official tarot deck as tarot, not as Tarochi or whatever it's called, but as tarot. And a lot of his inspiration came from some Egyptian decks, Mamluk, M-A-M-L-U-K. I don't know how to pronounce that. I guess was his main inspiration or primary inspiration. I don't know, but then they evolved over time, as they do, as the playing cards did, and now the tarot cards do. Since I just wanted to gloss over the history, that's kind of all I got for you. I wrote a bunch of other stuff down, but it was really tedious and boring, and you really won't care to hear it, I promise you. So the gist of it is, it started out as like a game, just like Ouija did, like a bicycle deck in the States would be, and it was, I guess, closer to the bridge game. If you know how to play bridge, then that was the original tarot. And then over time, the decks, still as playing decks, got prettier and fancier, and the prettier and fancier they got, the more established it meant the owner was. So, you know, rich people had the coolest decks on the block. Mind you, we're still talking about playing cards, but back in the day, what else are you going to do, right? So that's like the 1400s through the 1700s. The focus was on making them prettier and cooler and getting status and all that stuff, but it was still just a playing game. And then over here in the 18th century, we got the French dude, Mr. Jean-Baptiste Atelier, or however you say homie's name. He starts bringing the magic into the box, and we have tarot. They sort of follow suit as the playing deck style did, and they just get cooler and prettier and fancier and have more meaning and have more depth, and then the training manuals come bigger and with more information. And then we have today's tarot. Tarot is a really cool, fun adventure story that gives you a sneak peek in either what's coming for you, or how to navigate where you are, or to how to cope with and understand things from your past that you just can't seem to figure out on your own or make sense of on your own. Personally, that's why I use tarot, why I think it's an asset, but everyone's going to have their own reasons. Most people assume that tarot is a fortune-telling tool, which it can be-ish. I mean, it can only say so much, it's a card, right? But it's less about that and more about navigation. I guess, at least for me, I can't speak on why everyone gets tarot readings or why everyone does tarot. I feel like, A, it's a way to connect with the other side. So for me personally, when I do readings, it is typically my crew. For me, it's just a way to connect with spirit. To me, it's just a very beautiful bond between me and someone else having a conversation, and I love it personally, just as a connection tool, as a communication tool. But I'm not gonna lie, it absolutely helps you figure that shit out. It also helps you figure that shit out. So it may be like, this is coming up for you. You got this hurdle, you got this excitement, you got this struggle, you got this challenge, whatever it is. So you can mentally prepare. That is very helpful to like know it's coming. And then when it happens, you're like, oh shit, legit, this was, okay, let's do this. Because if it just catches you off guard and then you're like, why? But if it catches you off guard and you're like, okay, I knew this was coming, it did come, that means it's got to be for a reason and or something I need to do, like a lesson to learn. Because if this isn't something that just happened. It is, but we knew it was happening, which means to me it was important that it happened. For me, that gives me some peace. But additionally, as I mentioned, for me, I communicate either with my past loved ones or my guides or my crew. But a lot of times I don't know what the fuck I am doing. I am lost. I'm just down here in this meat suit, wandering around, like not sure what I'm doing. And sometimes your crew, your past loved ones, your ancestors, whatever, whoever's waiting for you over there, can nudge you, hint at you. Like, if you can go into a reading asking specifically for advice, you can be like, look, you can go into a reading saying, I need to know what's about to happen. Or you can say, look, I am dealing with something and I don't know what to do. And that's typically where I go. I don't really care about the future, because I mean, I'm excited for the future, but we're not there yet. That's not my focus right now. That's just, I don't want to focus too far out either direction. But for me, when I'm stuck on something, when I'm like, I do not know, like I think I'm losing my mind. I don't know if am I understanding this right? Am I interpreting this right? My impulse is to do this. Should I go with it? Should I stay back? Should I refrain? I'm thinking this, and this, and this, but this doesn't make sense. And then sometimes no, let me rephrase that. Almost every time, the rare part is when it doesn't. Those cards will say, girl, get your head out your ass, or stop fixating on this, or this is perfect, keep going, or just take it easy and wait, because we don't know yet. Why use tarot? Why get a tarot reading? Why do a tarot reading? It is to see the future. I guess if that's your need, it's not going to tell you everything. Obviously, they're cards, but it'll give you a general guidance system. It will help you make sense of the past sometimes. If you're like, this happened to me and I'm not able to get past it, I'm not able to understand it, sometimes it can help you get an understanding of why someone else did something, or why something else happened or didn't happen. And then sometimes when you're in it and you're like, I'm in this, I'm about to face this decision, or I'm having this impulse, or I don't have this impulse, or I want this or I don't want this, you can go to the deck and say, I take the wheel because I don't fucking know. And then they can guide you. They can say, look, this is looking really great for you if you want it. This is not, because it's making you stressed, or it'll point out the reasons, you know. It'll just guide you to say, look, well, this option makes you feel this option makes you feel that, this option looks like it could be good if you want to. At the end of the day, you always have free will, right? But for me, at least, it's always been a really good navigating and clarification tool. As for the why, that's typically why. And if you guys have totally different reasons for why you want to get tarot readings, for sure tell me down here. Okay, so what is a tarot deck? I don't know if any of you guys have tarot decks. I don't know if any of you guys have had a reading. I don't know if you guys even know what the hell they look like. So let's check them out. My first ever deck is the handle deck. And I need a new deck because this guy needs to be retired. The energy is immense in this bitch. If I'm ever unsure on another deck, what I'm reading, I will pull this deck for clarifiers, always. Because I've been working with it for years and years and years now. But it's getting grimy. The cards are pretty beat up. I need a new handle deck. I will get one, and then I will preserve this bad boy somewhere, like a memory box or something. But these being my favorite deck, let's see. So the back of the deck obviously has its own thing, but the cards, I mean, like the devil. Oh, so also something that I did in my handle deck only. I don't know how or why, but I'm really glad that they did. I had these 2 blank cards, right? They were literally blank. And so I put yes and no on each of them, which I love. I love for readings. So that's something that I do. I don't know if any other readers do that. I just did it on my own. So in terms of decks, they vary crazy. Like, some have nothing on them. This deck, I got this at Ross. They say that your decks are supposed to come to you, so you're supposed to just like be drawn to a deck, but I don't know. It's a very simple image and like no context. It's literally one chick and a bunny with like a ram head. But then you have some decks that'll help you out a little. Like this deck too, 6 of Pentacles. This deck doesn't tell me anything really. Oh, so their 6 of Pentacles are skulls. So that I have to count skulls there. So this is what I mean by I say that they can be different, for especially for the pentacles and the coins and all that. This one seems to vary a lot. I don't know why. But there's not much to go off of. It's just the 6 of Pentacles. You have to know off the top of your head what that means. And I don't, actually. This deck, though. So my handle deck will give you a little bit, right? So if you look at it, basically it says failure, 8 of Cups. So the only clue you get is the word failure. Like the 9 of Swords, it just says cruelty, 9 of Swords. You get some sort of idea, but not too much info. Whereas, like this one, has a little more info. Work, paid, work. This Ace of Cups, it says security and helping hands. A little bit more info. Then I've got this deck. This is a baby deck. Y'all ever see a baby deck before? I love this deck. And this bitch says all sorts of shit. And it's a small, go figure, the smallest deck has the most information. It has information on the top and bottom and on the sides. Also, the reason that there is information on the top and bottom is because of something that I completely forgot to explain, which is reversals. So some readers will not read reversals. They don't believe in them. That's their personal preference. I don't just read reversals, but I read sideways as well. The reversal is whatever the card would be, I'll reverse that. But just like each creator has their own special things within each deck, Some will and will not read reversals, and some, I believe, like me, read sideways as well. How to overall, how to do a reading, or how they know what is being said through the cards, is kind of broken down like this. Basically, in tarot, the deck system is like a set: wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. However, depending on the deck, depending on the artist or the creator, they do often fuck with the pentacles a lot and make them different things. So sometimes the pentacles are coins, sometimes the pentacles are stones, sometimes the pentacles are pentacles. There's variations of things, but you can get the idea that the base is going to be cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. Pentacles represents stability, money, just like livelihood kind of stuff. And then your cups is like your happiness, your love, your joy, your excitement, the good stuff. Wands is typically something moving. Either something's going really slow or really fast, or it's in movement, or it's coming towards you, or it's leaving you. It's the act. The wand cards are typically an action card. Swords kind of goes all the way, depending on where it's at in the reading. Swords can be an emotional energy, like devastation, anger, pain, feeling stuck. Like it can be an emotional sensation, the sword, or it could be an act of something icky, someone doing something behind your back. So that's the general breakdown of the suits and how that works. Within each of these suits, so let's say all the cups or all of the pentacles, there are 10 main cards. So you have ace through 10 with that imagery. With the cup, with the wands, so there's 10 wands, there's 10 stones, there's 10 whatever, right? So for example, like a 10 of stone, which would be a 10 of pentacle in the main deck, would literally be 10 pentacles. See, so 3 of swords, see the cups, a 5 of wands, because it's under 10, it's a base card, it'll literally be the image with the number, 5 of whatever. Within ace through 10 of each suit, it's like generic shit, everyday shit, no big shit, but stuff we see, stuff we should know, whatever. The tedious stuff, the like, okay, I see you doing that, maybe don't do that, or this is coming, but don't worry about it, that's going to be in your base cards, your ace through 10. In addition to the 10 cards for each suit, there are 22 arcana cards. These cards are like boss cards. They're like major shit's gonna happen kind of cards. Not like, oh yeah, you're kind of feeling sad today. It's like, bitch, this is gonna happen. So the minor arcana cards in the 22 arcana are basically your face cards, your royalty cards in like a bicycle deck. They're more like day-to-day important, and they're like, all right, this is kind of a deal, so be aware of this, or listen, we see you, stop doing that, because otherwise it's gonna be a problem. Those kind of things are gonna be in your queen, jack, king version, whether that be verbiaged differently per deck. It could be mother, father, son, daughter. It could be king, queen, prince, princess. It could be king, queen, page, and I don't remember the other opposite of page, but those are the stuff to, like, either we see it and we're gonna fucking acknowledge it, or the stuff that you need to be aware of. It's not life and death, but like it could be, so let's focus. Or the stuff that's about to come that you need to pay attention to. It's not going to end your life, but it's something we need to pay attention to. Then the major arcana, the ones that do not have a suit and do not have a number on them, they just are what they are, these beautiful bad boys, are the big business boys. And they are the ones that the universe are like, listen, life path change, good or bad. It could be the best career of your life is about to come, or you're right in the middle of it and you're gonna fuck it up if you don't do this right. Or it could be the love of your life is on its way, or girl, you just lost something, you better go fix that. So the major arcana is the life-changing stuff, the career that's going to take you on the map, the love of your life, the house you've been dreaming of forever, the new baby coming in, the divorce that you're finally fucking done with and you don't have to think about anymore. You know, like, whatever it is, good, bad, in between, is some serious shit when the major arcana comes out. Could be really good serious shit, but it's serious shit. So that's how the breakdown is. That's how you get your messages, the levels, the day-to-day, the important to be aware of, and the girl, you fucking better be aware of it. Boy, whatever. And then spread layout, the intention behind the spread, all that stuff comes into play. Clarifiers come into play. Reversals, if they do or don't read a reversal, is up to each person, so I would find out before if that's something that you care about. And then also shuffling. Each reader shuffles different. And this also comes down to more than just like a style. This comes down to, for many people, heritage and stuff. So how do I explain that? Granted, there's a lot of things that my grandmother taught me that I think for her time were accurate, but maybe not so much anymore. There's a tremendous amount that my grandma taught me that I just will not change over the years, and have taught my daughter and my son, and hopefully they will do the same for theirs. But one of the things I was taught by my grandma was about energy transfer. So jewelry, tools like pendulums, Ouija boards, tarot decks, whatever it is, family, stones, rocks, anything that's gonna be passed down or used for divination or used for centering or whatever, that energy needs to be in the family only. That's it. Like, so Caitlin and I can counter, we can swap jewelry and decks and stones and stuff like that. Typically speaking, outside of your line, if you are from a family of gifts, the energy needs to be the same, and it needs to be consistent, and it needs to be clean, and you need to know who's from touching your stuff and putting energy into your stuff. Some readers, which is to each their own, like I said, this is just something that I've been taught from my family and have continued to pass down, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just how I was raised. Some readers will hand the deck to a person, have them hold it, have them shuffle it. Some will do their spread and then have them pull however many. Totally fine. Just it's not how I do it. So each reader is also different. So if you went to one that had you put all their energy in and the next one didn't, that doesn't make them more or less qualified. It's just how they choose to manifest their energy and where they're doing it. Then we all have different shuffling styles. So some people, I think, shuffle and pull. Some people pull from the top, some people pull from the bottom. Some people do like a shuffle and then they do a spread, like so. And then they, with their own energy, feel out which ones to pull. I am a kicker, personally, when I shuffle. So I basically just run the deck, see how that flew, see how fast I can go with these. Whoa, so that went down. The thing you want to be mindful of if you are a kicker shuffler and you read reversals is just to always be mindful of watching it land. Because if you don't read reversals, it doesn't matter. You just pick it up and put it where it needs to be. Each deck is totally different. So I love this texture for shuffling. It's my favorite shuffle texture, as opposed to like this stuff. This is paper, almost a very fine cardboard. It sucks ass. This shuffling is a little less fun for me. It just doesn't see how that all flipped together. It's very frustrating sometimes, especially if you're like in the middle of a reading that's like in it, right? Because sometimes readings are like, yeah, I need more information, can I get more information? And then sometimes that whoever you are talking to is like, bitch, let's talk, and they're like and if you're in the shuffling and you're like in the zone and you're like, yeah, and then this and this and this, and then you get the whole fucking pile flip, oh my god. On top of that, you have different spreads that you can do. An example of a couple different ones that you can do. Like a lot of people do, they think the Celtic cross. Some people just do 3-card draws. I typically tend to just sort of make it up. I usually do, no, it really depends. It depends on the person. It depends on what they want and what they're asking. But there are actual protocols and set structures and all that stuff that if you really want to learn it properly, the legit people, the people that I watch and learn from, they know all the spreads, and there's a reason for each type of spread. There's a reason that's laid out the way it is and all that stuff. So I don't know. I should have done more homework, but I don't use them, so I didn't really. Usually, depending on your spread, you'll get a base reading that's very vague, and then you will clarify with clarifier cards. I've never seen a reader not do it. I do it no matter what spread I'm doing. There are what we call clarifiers. So you'll get your base info down, and then it's just a card. What about 10 of stones? Am I going to lose 10 of stones? Am I going to get 10 of stones? Do I have it? Is it coming? Is it going to be financial or just stability? Right? How do you know that? That's a very vague thing. So you have to clarify it. So you pull, I usually do two clarifiers, and then if I need more, I go from there. But usually, whatever your clarifier number is as a reader, you would then clarify said card. And then that would say, the next two might say a chariot and a 10 of cups. in addition to the 10 of stones. And then that would tell me that fucking hella good shit's coming to you. This is a good thing coming. And then you'd want to know, like, but how? Why? We would have to clarify some more. So it's a progressive, it's a story, really. Some people use the same deck to clarify. If I'm just doing a basic one-on-one reading, I will for a little bit, unless it's getting really long. Some people will only use multiple decks for clarifiers, so they'll do the base on one and then they'll pick a different deck to use for clarifiers, which can be super helpful, especially because you're getting duplicate cards, so you could get the same cards repeated because you're using a different deck. And it's probably visually easier to differentiate where the clarifier versus the original was, but I don't really have a preference. I don't care. I just want to get clear messages. So if I have enough cards in the deck to clear it up, I'll just use the same one. But if I need extra, then I'll pull out other decks as well. And clarifying can be super simple. It could be 2 cards and it makes perfect sense. Or it could be like a 20-minute clarifier, depending on if it's just going into a story and a story and a story. So in addition to the spreads and the clarifiers, you in general want to decide what the overall vibe of the reading can be. Sometimes people get general readings and it's sort of like a hit me, whatever you gotta tell me, right? So if that's the case, I personally would just start with 3 cards and just tell me. A lot of readers do past, present, and future. Most readers do past, present, and future. And for the longest time, I too would be like, what do I care about my past, right? Like, I get it, it's gone, it's done. Like, why are you telling me shit I already know? But that is how you know, right? So what I've learned, and I think that this is something that I don't know that I would have been able to learn if I didn't go through it myself. So I get readings daily, but the way that I find my readings are through YouTube. But here's the thing. I think just the same with books and stones and tarot decks, because tarot decks are supposed to find you, especially on the internet, where it's super easy because the internet's just straight energy. It's not even like manipulating objects. It's just straight energy. Your frequency, where you're at, where you need to be, where your guides feel you need to be, is going to attract that content to you that is applicable for you right now where you're at. In addition to learning the suits and the numbers and the meaning, the general meanings behind it, the cards themselves, the point is, are not always just at face value what they are. So if you just learn the basics of tarot and then go to be like, I don't understand why I don't understand, like I did, it's because there's so much more that tarot readers know, way more than I fucking know, as to, like, I mean, the imagery in the cards tells the story. The runes or the symbolism or the signs that are on the card, the placement of the card next to another card, the absence of a card next to another card, the energy that it's being felt. A general idea of the devil is like an addiction or a negative pattern of behavior, or it's usually not in a good format. But as you learn tarot and you learn context, if you got like the devil card in a love reading, say, that's a different context, because that could mean either like, you are my temptation, right? Like, I need that. You are the devil, right? In that same light, or it could be impulse, like an impulse. Like I impulsively want that, but like it's not a thought through thing. It's just straight emotional impulse. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it is just going for what you are internally craving, wanting, needing. And so it just depends on the context. But if you just know the cards on the base level, you would think the devil card is automatically a bad thing. Same with like the death card. The death card scares the hell out of people. If you guys are doing tarot on your own, if you're choosing to do tarot and you're not already a professional tarot reader, or if it's something you want to start playing with as a tool for yourself, like I do, or to become a tarot reader and you want to invest a few years to learn this, awesome. But please always make sure, just like with the Ouija board, or just like with a pendulum, or just like with spirit boxes, or any other tool you're using or space you're involving yourself in, you need to make sure to clean the energy and protect yourself first. Y'all, like I said, I am not a tarot reader and I am still learning. So if any of this is incorrect, please nicely put it down below, correct me. I'm all for it. I want to know if I'm wrong, because how else am I going to learn? All right, so I don't actually know how to wrap this up. which is kind of sad, actually. I'm so rusty, y'all. Like, it's ridiculous. I feel like I covered everything I need to on just the legit basics. Here's what I want to do. When I start doing the better versions, where I'm like actually going to get places done or actually talking to people, blah, 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 I will revamp the tarot and any others that didn't get the full service. Does that make sense? And then I will actually go get it, like, we'll just do like the tarot video 2 or something, and so that we can actually get a tarot reading in or something like that. Right now I'm literally just getting my bearings again, getting back in front of the camera, making sure placement and all that stuff's done. Yeah, remember, he has to appear in every video, so here he is. Bye guys.